November 1922. The Valley of the Kings. Howard Carter cuts through 3,000 years of stone seal and lifts a candle into King Tutankhamun's tomb. Gold gleams everywhere. Chariots, a throne, a solid gold death mask, and folded in a chest at the back of the burial chamber, neatly stacked among the treasures meant to follow a god king into the afterlife, are 145 pairs of underwear. You probably have 3 in your laundry basket right now. But here's the thing they don't put in the textbooks. The history of what you wear under your clothes is older, stranger, and more violent than almost any other object you use every day. And the woman whose name became the word for women's pants, she gave them up herself, mocked until she surrendered. The reform she started would take 100 years to come back. I am Julian Cross of Rise and Ruin. And this is the hidden history of underwear. But here's the thing most people don't realize. Underwear isn't a modern invention. It's not even a Roman invention. It's older than the wheel. In 1991, 2 hikers in the Ötztal Alps stumbled across a body sticking out of a glacier. They thought it was a recent climbing accident. It was not. The body was 5,300 years old. We call him Ötzi, the Iceman. Among the things he was carrying when he died was a tailored leather loincloth held by a calfskin belt. Stone Age tailoring. 3,300 BC. The oldest documented underwear ever found. The Egyptians took it further. The garment was called the skenti, a bleached white linen. The pharaohs and the elite changed skenti multiple times a day, which is why Tutankhamun's tomb contained 145 of them. To an Egyptian noble, dirty linen was a moral failure. Hygiene was status. The Romans engineered both versions. The sublegaculum was the standard loincloth, worn by soldiers, gladiators, and athletes of both sexes. Women added the strophium, a linen breastband wrapped tight across the chest. In a Roman villa in Sicily called Villa Romana del Casale, archaeologists uncovered a 4th century floor mosaic showing 10 women exercising in what looks unmistakably like a 2-piece bikini. Athletic gear, 1,800 years ago. What you're wearing under your jeans right now is essentially the same garment a Roman athlete put on before practice in 350 AD. But the strangest part of underwear history isn't how old it is. It's what happened to the woman who tried to drag it forward. But here is the dark turn. When Rome fell in 476 AD, almost everything underneath the toga fell with it. For the next 1,000 years, women across most of Europe wore no underwear at all. They wore only a chemise, a long linen smock. That was it. Men wore brays, loose linen drawers tied at the waist with string. Public bathhouses closed and lice and bacterial infections became common. By the 1400s, men's fashion swung the opposite way. Tight-fitting hose left a gap at the crotch, and a flap was added to cover it. The codpiece, originally functional. By the time Henry VIII sat for Hans Holbein in 1537, it was padded, decorated, and sometimes used to carry coins, weapons, or oranges. This is the part most history books skip. Women did not wear what we would call underwear in any familiar sense until the early 1800s. And when drawers finally appeared, they were split, open at the crotch, which was standard for a century. Women were buried under crinolines and corsets so heavy they could not undress to use a chamber pot. So the underwear was designed to make undressing unnecessary. And that's where the story turns ugly. Because in 1851, a woman named Amelia Bloomer, the editor of America's first newspaper run by a woman, looked at all of this and said, "Enough." The corsets were crushing women's ribs. The crinolines were catching fire near hearths and killing thousands a year. Bloomer published an article promoting Turkish-style trousers under a short skirt. Newspapers from Boston to London tore her apart. Cartoonists drew Bloomer girls as men in disguise. Children chanted ridicule songs in the street. By 1859, Amelia Bloomer abandoned her own costume. She returned to crinolines. The dress reform movement died with her surrender. She was right. They laughed her out of her own reform, and women could not wear pants on the floor of the United States Senate until 1993. By the way, if you made it this far, you are clearly the kind of person who finds this stuff fascinating. If you want more stories like this, the hidden stories behind the things you use every day, hit subscribe. Now back to our story. But what Bloomer started didn't die with her. It just had to wait for the rest of the world to catch up. Here is the truth. Mary Phelps Jacob did not invent the bra. That is one of fashion history's most repeated lies. What she did was patent a version of it. November 3rd, 1914. Patent number 1,115,674. She was 19 years old. She tied 2 silk handkerchiefs together with a pink ribbon to wear under a sheer evening gown. She sold the patent to Warner Brothers Corset Company for $1,500. Warner Brothers earned roughly $15 million from it. She got a footnote. They got an empire. But here's the twist. The garment she patented already existed 500 years earlier. In 2008, archaeologists renovating Lengberg Castle in East Tyrol, Austria, opened a sealed cavity beneath a floor. Inside were 2,700 textile fragments that had not seen daylight since the 1400s. Among them were 4 linen breast bags, cups, shoulder straps, and side gores, recognizably BRAS. Beatrix Nutz of the University of Innsbruck radiocarbon dated them to roughly 1440. The bra was invented at least 470 years before that patent. And then March 2020 happened. The world locked down. Bra sales in the United States dropped 12%. Wireless bra sales jumped 40%. Victoria's Secret closed roughly 250 stores. Skims, founded by Kim Kardashian in 2019, hit a $4 billion valuation by 2023. A 100-year cycle of structured, fashion-driven underwear collapsed in 18 months, and the industry pivoted back to comfort, to exactly what every Egyptian, every Roman, every 15th century Austrian seamstress, and Amelia Bloomer in 1851 already understood. Amelia Bloomer was right in 1851. The market just took 169 years to admit it. Underwear isn't just a story about modesty. It's a story about who decides what's comfortable, who profits from what hurts, and how many times a civilization can forget what it already knew. For 5,000 years, the same garment keeps disappearing and coming back, tailored in goat leather in the Alps, folded in a pharaoh's tomb in 145 layers, stitched into linen cups in a 15th century castle, patented for $1,500 by a teenager who never saw the empire she had built, mocked off the body of the woman who fought hardest to free it. From a tomb in 1323 BC to a smartphone purchased last week, the same garment keeps coming back, because comfort always wins. It just takes us a few thousand years to remember. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Rise and Ruin. If you have a moment and you liked what you heard, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and leave a comment below telling us another episode you would like to see. Next time, we will uncover the hidden history behind another invention you use every day. Until then, take a look around. History is everywhere.